There are actors you recognize, actors you admire, and then there's Nicolas Cage. He's not just another name in Hollywood. He's a force of nature. A man whose career is a wild, thrilling roller coaster of ambition, reinvention, and pure passion for acting. Some call him unpredictable, others call him a genius, and honestly, they're both right. Because Nicolas Cage doesn't just act, he completely disappears into whatever strange, intense, or deeply human character he's portraying. And through it all, he's built a legacy unlike anyone else in Hollywood. But before he was Nicolas Cage, before the iconic performances and the internet memes, he was Nicholas Kim Coppola. Born on January 7, 1964, in Long Beach, California, Nicholas was part of a legendary film dynasty. His uncle is none other than Francis Ford Coppola, the legendary director of The Godfather. Now, being born into a famous family might seem like a golden ticket into the industry, but Nicholas didn't want handouts. He didn't want to ride someone else's legacy. That's why he changed his name to Nicolas Cage, inspired partly by Marvel's Luke Cage, to carve out his own identity. That choice alone tells you everything you need to know about who he is. From the beginning, Nicolas Cage was different. He wasn't chasing fame for the usual reasons. He wanted to explore the limits of acting, to try things that had never been done before, to get weird with it, to make people feel something real. And his early work proved that. In the 1980s, he turned heads in films like Valley Girl, Peggy Sue Got Married, and Raising Arizona. He was quirky, offbeat, but magnetic. Audiences didn't know what to make of him, but they couldn't look away. Then came the 90s, and Nicolas Cage exploded. He didn't just break into the mainstream, he kicked the door down. In 1995, he starred in Leaving Las Vegas, playing a suicidal alcoholic screenwriter with such raw honesty that it earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor. He wasn't afraid to be ugly, broken, vulnerable. That performance wasn't about looking cool or being a star, it was about truth. And the truth was hard to watch, but impossible to ignore. But then, as only Cage can do, he pivoted hard. Right after winning an Oscar, he jumped into action blockbusters. In the span of just a few years, we got The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off. Let's be real, nobody else could have pulled off those roles like he did. He went from playing a tragic alcoholic to playing a long-haired ex-convict saving the day on a plane full of criminals, and he made it work. Somehow, it wasn't cheesy. It was electric. His performances were over the top in the best possible way. He brought a wild energy that made every scene unforgettable. And that's the thing about Nicolas Cage, he's not afraid to go big. He doesn't care about looking cool or playing it safe. He goes all in, every time. Whether he's screaming about alphabet letters in Vampire's Kiss or swapping faces with John Travolta, Cage commits fully. And that's what makes him so fascinating to watch. But behind the scenes, his life was just as dramatic as any film he's been in. As his fame grew, so did his spending. He bought castles. Yes, real castles. He bought a haunted mansion in New Orleans, multiple exotic cars, a private island, a dinosaur skull. Yeah, you heard that right. A dinosaur skull. It was like he was living in one of his own movies. Eventually, the IRS came knocking. He owed millions in back taxes. His finances crumbled. At one point, it looked like his career might go down with them. But here's where the story takes a turn, not a fall, but a rise. Because Nicolas Cage didn't quit. He didn't disappear. He went to work, hard. From the late 2000s to the mid-2010s, Cage started taking on dozens of films, many of them lower budget or direct-to-video. Some people mocked him for it, saying he was just taking anything for the paycheck. But those who really watched knew better. Even in the weirdest, smallest films, Cage showed up. He gave 100% every time. No matter the budget, no matter the script, he found a way to make it interesting. That's something most actors can't do. And then something amazing started to happen. People began to see him differently. All those years of wild performances, strange roles, and total commitment, they weren't jokes. They were the work of an artist who never stopped loving the craft. Cage started earning back not just respect, but admiration. He wasn't just making movies, he was building a myth. In recent years, Nicolas Cage has had a major resurgence. In 2018, he starred in the psychedelic horror film Mandy, and critics went wild. His performance was brutal, emotional, and utterly unforgettable. In 2021, he blew audiences away with Pig, a quiet, deeply moving film about a truffle hunter searching for his stolen pig. Sounds odd, right? But Cage turned it into something profound. He reminded the world that he's not just a meme, he's one of the best actors of his generation. And then came the unbearable weight of massive talent, where Cage played himself. Or rather, a fictional version of himself. It was meta, funny, and shockingly heartfelt. The film let him laugh at the legend while also owning it. It was a love letter to his career, and to his fans. What's truly remarkable is how Nicolas Cage has managed to survive and thrive in an industry that loves to build people up only to tear them down. He's been through personal loss, financial ruin, public scrutiny, and he just keeps going. He doesn't beg for sympathy. He doesn't make excuses. He just keeps acting, keeps exploring, keeps being Nicolas Cage, and that's why he has such a passionate fan base. Because he's real, he's flawed, he's human, he takes risks, fails, rises again, and through it all, he never phones it in. Every performance is a piece of his soul. Whether it's a blockbuster, an indie gem, or something totally off the wall, Cage is all in. And let's not forget his voice work. He was the voice of Spider-Man Noir in Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, and people absolutely loved him. He made a black and white, trenchcoat-wearing Spidey sound like the coolest detective in the multiverse. Again, Cage didn't just show up, he brought something unique to the role. Today, Nicolas Cage is not just an actor. He's a cultural icon. Younger generations are discovering him not just through his older films, but through memes, video essays, interviews, and new projects that keep surprising us. And that's part of the magic, he's always evolving. He never gets stuck in one image. He reinvents, redefines, and reclaims his own story, time after time. He once said, "I'm always trying to find the truth in a performance, even if it's a wild performance." And that's exactly what sets him apart. Even in the most outrageous scenes, Cage is chasing something deeper. He wants to connect. He wants to show us something about pain, joy, madness, or love, something raw and real, underneath all the chaos. And maybe that's why we keep watching. Because in a world full of calculated, polished performances, Nicolas Cage dares to be messy. Dares to be strange. Dares to be vulnerable. And in doing so, he shows us that it's okay to be all of those things too. So when people ask, why do you like Nicolas Cage so much? The answer is simple. Because he's never boring. Because he takes chances. Because in every role, no matter how big or small, he gives a part of himself. And in a world that often feels fake, that kind of honesty is rare. As Cage continues his journey, whether it's in another action epic, a quiet drama, a comedy, or even a movie shot in space, yes, he's rumored to be interested. One thing is certain, Nicolas Cage isn't done. Not by a long shot. He's still searching, still evolving, still acting like it's the first time, every time. And for fans all around the world, that's something worth celebrating. Because no matter where life takes him, Nicolas Cage will always be the wild card, the legend, the original. The man who turned his name into a genre of its own. And that's not just Hollywood magic. That's Nicolas Cage.